It would not surprise me if you asked me why I stay. The world has changed so much since I first came to the monastery. What people expect of us is very different in many places, especially those who don't know us very well. Many people think that our time is past. There's no place for us in the world anymore. After all, what are we contributing? We met some people who invited us out to their farm ranch. It's about an hour and a half maybe outside the city. And they introduced us to those. We had a great time. I couldn't go fast enough. It was the same people who introduced us to their, I would call it their riding horse. It was almost like a pet. And asked us if we wanted to ride. Well, of course. We see on the horizon here, at night, if you look out there, you can just see the lights all across the horizon. And it's a constant reminder of the people who, whether they know it or not, support us. It may not be by money, it may not even be by words of welcome, but simply by accepting us as part of their city. And in every one of these scenes, you can see the city in the background. You can see these buildings. It's a little bit different in every one of them. But the city is definitely there. It's almost as though the city was being viewed from all these different angles, as though it was an attempt to bring the whole city into the picture of Claire's life. So here we are. This was painted near the end of the 13th century. So here we are at the beginning of the 21st century, and it's just as real and just as true as it was then. Because we're the only monastery in the state, there just aren't places where people can come and just kind of be with the Lord and be with people whose life is wrapped up in the Lord. And people have made that first step, and they've come here, whether it's for an open house or coming to Mass or whatever it might be. And they're surprised that at home, they feel at home. And they come back, and they come back, and they become good friends. Because we're all seeking God together.
What else can you think of that you would like to say?
You may have seen that big urn we have in the chapel. We've got pages full of intentions. We've got the ones that come in the mail. It's hard to guess how many are in there. I would say close to 1,000. But we're very much aware of it because this is different from anything else in the chapel. It's a beautiful piece, and it's right here in the midst of us. So whether it's time to read this out loud so that we're all praying together for these people, or whether we're simply coming in to pray by ourselves, we are aware of this and all the people who are asking us to join them in their prayer. God is far more present in this world than people think. And that there is a dialogue going on whether they know it or not, between them and the circumstances of their lives and God caring for them. And we are a part of that because we care about the people among whom we live, and radiating out from that to the whole world, to the whole church. And it's a very strong bond. It's a movement that's always going on, even if they're not aware of it. And I think here we're very conscious of that, partly because of all those people who have asked us to pray for them. And many of them share, very, very private, deep concerns. And we find it very touching that they trust us with those things. And we know that God is taking care of them. God never goes out of style. Some people may think so, but the world is full of God, and they don't know it. We wouldn't be here at all if it weren't that God wants us here. Not just us in this community, but all of us. And there's another level of life and goodness and love that's all around them. And we're glad that we can help them to find that.
People who have come to the monastery over and over, we hear them say, it's so peaceful here. Even young people come in and are amazed at how peaceful and quiet it is. Maybe not so quiet, but sometimes, but it's the peace that they feel. When we saw this statue, a picture of the statue online, we said, this is us. We do a lot of hospitality, and we found that her holding the bowl with the loaves of bread was perfect. We feel that even that Claire with holding the buns, to be able to share what we have with the people around us. This building was not just for us, it's for the people around us. And we have made that very clear to people. Whenever we have liturgies or celebrations, we remind them that we built this for them. And people keep coming. I guess last year when we had a celebration, husband and wife brought us a basket of plums from their tree. And we were all pretty excited about fresh plums. So they donated a tree so that we can eventually have our own. Very nice, yeah. People come for retreats, and I just love being that close to chapel, living right in the same building as the chapel and being able to come here on their own. It's been a wonderful gift for people.
I'll fix it later. Here in Montana, you save things like flowers as long as you can, because we just don't have that many of them. I told my brother Brian one time, I said, when a crocus appears in the yard in the spring, we put a little fence around it and genuflect every time we go by. Because you plant bulbs and you don't know if they're going to last through the winter or not. And if one or two do, hooray. It's been hard to get used to, having grown up on the East Coast.
Yeah.
But we have mountains.
We built this. It was suggested to us a number of years ago, like early 90s. When we build a monastery, open it so that people are welcome and you can share with people the gift you have. And we remember that when we designed. We wanted this to be a welcoming place for everyone. I'd say ring the doorbell. Come, feel free to ring the doorbell. They will be welcome. We're a number of women who care about people. We aren't people to be afraid of. And I know some people are, or turned off by religious or by nuns, but there's no reason. People don't understand who we are. As a monastery, we live our total lives here. Some sisters that are in the active communities live in a home, like a convent or an apartment, and they leave that building during the day to minister to others, to visit hospitals or be teachers or take care of the poor. We stay here. Our work is in this building. We pray for the people around us, for the people, the church, the whole world. When we hear of problems, earthquakes, tornadoes, whatever, fires, we immediately remember those people who are suffering in our prayer. And as we've met women who have come here who have been very sad because of situations in their family, we have been able to comfort them. So our life of prayer, our presence here, we're a stable group of people, and we want to be here for others. And that's who we are. That's who we are. You know. I know a couple of years ago we had someone who was here, but her heart really wasn't in it. And we knew that, and I had to say to her, this is not working. And she was fine with that. She knew. I think people know in their hearts when something's not right. So, but we are open to giving people a chance. We want to be open to women joining us. It's very important for us to grow as a community. I would say the only way you're going to know is to come and see. Spend some time with us. And if a person shows interest, we wouldn't expect them to come the next day and stay. We have times, short periods of time that a woman would stay with us, even not to come into the enclosure for a while, but to stay in it would be a gradual progression of time spent with us. And it's only being with us and seeing what we do and experiencing it that will help a person to know if they belong or not. And that's what we've found with people. They know when it's not right. And we invite people to come and find out. You won't know until you experience it. God doesn't jump on us and say, you've got to do this, or send a bolt of lightning. Nobody here has received a bolt of lightning. But so you have to experience it to know if it's right or not. A lot of people ask us about our tau cross. They say, oh, what a nice necklace. Well, it means a lot more than a necklace to me, to each of us here. St. Francis used this as his signature. And so he chose it. It means turning your life around or making a conversion. And we are called to that every day, actually. We need to turn our lives to God and turn our lives to our sisters and the people outside of our monastery. And I guess I can't help feeling that in our world today with so much hatred going on, if people would just think about that we turn our lives to God and to others in peace, it would make a big difference in the world. But these crosses, actually, our sisters in Korea made for us before we came together as a community. They were given to us, so it means a lot coming from another part of the world that we have these. But and some communities wear them and some don't. But for us, it's an important symbol. For our sisters who came from Tanzania, had wooden ones, and so when they made their permanent commitment to our community, we gave them one like this. St. Clare of Assisi was really, she lived for her sisters. She listened to them, and in her rule, she speaks strongly of being sister to one another, to be example, talks about washing their feet, serving her sisters. Having been abbess for quite a few years, I loved being abbess. Not because I was top dog or the boss, but I loved being sister to my sisters. I have done that throughout the years. As I said before, building community is important to me. I'm a real Chase. The Chase family is where we had the lumber company, but I feel like I'm a real builder, and I've known it for many years. I know I messed up the first couple of years I was professed because I didn't catch on. But since then, I know that my role is to be a sister to my sisters. And that's what I loved intently, is that right? Intensely, as being abbess. Doing whatever I can for my sisters.